For the past 6 months of 2022, there are quite a lot of BL series that were released and gave us the best times by watching their stories. In this video, I will be having my own ranking of BL series for the past 6 months and why I love these shows. Take note that only those that I have finished watching will be considered for this ranking and every ongoing BLs are not counted. If you also have your own ranking for the first half of 2022, feel free to share it with us on the comment section below. Before that, some of these shows might not be available in your country due to geo-blocked restriction. If that's the case, then you might want to sign up to ExpressVPN so you can unlock these geo-blocked BL dramas. Use the link on the description below to have 49% discount plus an additional 3 months free of usage if you opt to avail the 12-month plan. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 10. Cherry Blossoms After Winter. It's been quite a while since I have watched the entirety of the series, but whenever I see contents about them, I still giggle like the first time I saw them. Story-wise, Cherry Blossoms After Winter was a simple yet good story, although it lacked a climax that would keep me on the edge of my seat. The level of my excitement for the first half of the show was steadily increasing, but from the middle towards the ending, it only maintained the flow of the story and did not peak. On the good side, the chemistry for the main characters was really great and the contrast they made on some point did a good job on balancing this series. Having 8 episodes only with a limited runtime is still a problem with Korean BLs, and Cherry Blossoms After Winter isn't an exception. If the plot could have gone a little bit deeper, this BL would have reached its full potential. Number 9. Dear Doctor, I'm Coming for Sowell. A combination of medical and supernatural in a BL drama was one of the things I had always looked forward before, and thankfully, it finally happened. To be frank, the plot and its concept were really the strong points of the series and gave it the advantage compared to others on this list. The only problem I had was the direction of where the plot was heading. Although I was a bit annoyed on one of the main characters due to its temper and being hot-headed, I understood that it was part of its character and also the plot. But after seeing the whole series, there was a time when I felt that the plot was just jumping back and forth. Fortunately, the later part managed to keep my interest and made me wonder what would be the conclusion on the love story of a doctor and a soul reaper. The best thing about this series for me was the emotional investment for every character. The characters were greatly developed, and that's one thing that I would miss on this show. Another thing, the depressing and heartbreaking episodes of Dear Doctor made me even more attached on this series. Number 8. Mr. Unlucky Has No Choice But to Kiss. Japanese BLs are really great and it's my go-to choice whenever I want to watch something like that would light up my mood, and Mr. Unlucky Has No Choice is one of those BLs. This series started a great one and it was an instant hit for me. The lucky and unlucky plot of the main characters was truly an impressive story that made it keep going. Although it was one of its strengths, it also became a part of its weaknesses towards the ending because it did not peak that much. Just like Cherry Blossoms After Winter, the last few episodes did not bring anything new to the table and the development of their love story wasn't the best part of this series. Aside from that, probably my favorite part of this show would be their chemistry, and it really helped me to enjoy this BL so much. Number 7. Blooming. This Korean BL is actually on its disadvantage because it's been ages since I've finished watching it. Nevertheless, its plot is still one of the best Korean BLs I have seen, and it's definitely one of the cleanest I have seen so far. Blooming might only have a simple story and does not offer a complicated story, but its simplicity made it stand out. The cinematography is also a top tier by using some of the techniques on what they have shown to us in some of the episodes. The two actors have done a great way on showcasing the awkwardness between the two characters, and they slowly began to open up to each other. The last few episodes of the series might have shown us a bit of angst, but the main characters managed to recover their relationship in the end. Number 6. To My Star Season 2. Since it's already a Season 2, we could expect that they would deliver a better and a much more complicated storyline. And To My Star Season 2 somehow did it. Acting wise, the Season 2 is miles ahead of the first season, and that's noticeable in the first few minutes of the season. The production also got an improvement in every corner, and I can say that it's one of the best for a Korean BL. But the one thing that I did not like about the season 2 was the storyline and the plot. The sudden disappearance of Han Ji-woo and breaking up with Seo-joon were the things that made me so much confused connecting the first and second season. The series explained the reasons of Han Ji-woo, but I felt that it was so traumatic for Seo-joon to be left suddenly without a proper explanation, considering how his parents left him for being an actor. Number 5. Semantic Error. As of now, Semantic Error serves as my most favorite Korean BL for this year, and its simple yet beautiful story was its edge compared to others on this list. The enemies to lovers trope is quite evident on the most part of the series, that's why it easily caught my heart. The contrast between the two main characters' attitude was one of the highlights of this show, and that storyline strengthened the chemistry of both leads with each other. My only complaint for this series was how short it was, but considering that the source material isn't finished yet, I'm glad that the series ended with a positive note. Number 4. The Miracle of Teddy Bear. You might be asking why this series got a higher ranking compared to others on this list, even though the finale episode got mixed reviews. Well, the finale episode do not reflect the whole series, and I also think that the finale was the most logical way on how to end this kind of series. The Miracle of Teddy Bear was filled with symbolism and relevant issues, in which they mixed it in an interesting and mystery plot. The first few episodes might be hard to watch, not because it was bad, but due to Nut's hot-headed personality, and the reason why he became like that was properly explained as the series went by. Everything in this series was well connected to each and every character, and I believe that it's one of the greatest feats of this series. The chemistry between the two main leads is something I would want to see over and over again, and I will never get tired of it. The finale is also a controversial one, but I think it was the perfect way to end the show. Tofu's character served as the miracle for Nut's life, and he would treasure it forever. Number 3. Cupid's Last Wish. I never thought that a body swap plot could be done so good and would make it to my top 3 for the first half of 2022. Earth Mix series is definitely one of the best stories I have ever watched for this year, and it was consistent. Cupid's Last Wish is an underrated BL, and I think that's because of the concept of its plot. The reason why this series has a successful way in delivering this kind of plot was how they handled the character of Win. Although his character was trapped in Lin's body, most of the times, we see Win because that's how Korn sees him. This might be confusing at first, but the change of actors from time to time was definitely the best part of it. Cupid's Last Wish literally felt like a journey, and that added another layer of storyline for the series. Number 2. Not Me. This is by far the best BL series that XylonAkauMSTS has produced yet, and I always think that it's a masterpiece. The concept is far different compared to the usual plots that XylonAkauMSTS had given us for the past couple of years, so Not Me brought a lot to the table when it first aired. I kind of agree to some that the finale wasn't the strongest part of this series, and I felt that this could have been better, although I couldn't think of anything that could conclude the story. Another thing, Off-Gun have been one of my favorite on-screen BL couples, and I was glad that I saw huge improvement on their acting prowess since the first time I saw them. Aside from that, Dan Yok had also become a star on this show, but the plot robbed them on shining brighter. Overall, Not Me kick-started the year with a bang and easily becomes the standard. Number 1. Triage. I never thought that this kind of genre would become my top pick for the first half of 2022, but I never regretted spending my time watching the entirety of this series. Plot-wise, it's one of the strongest on this lineup, and the amount of mystery surrounding the characters was above amazing. The final loop might fall short compared to the beginning of the series, but still gave us a great conclusion for the story of Tin and Tol. One of the best part of Triage is the chemistry of Tin and Tol, and although the plot focused more on saving the life of Tol, it still managed to incorporate the love story between the two. Triage is truly in a league of its own. Also in number 1, King Porsche. Since I couldn't decide between Triage and King Porsche as my number 1, I decided to consider both of them for this top spot. King Porsche has changed the way we see a BL series in terms of its production quality, and it will be a tough one to follow this kind of series. Although I'm not fond of some of the scenes, they managed to tone down a little bit from the novel and made it a much more acceptable for everyone. For the chemistry, the three couples definitely served the best they could, and their acting performances were really believable. This series got a lot of action scenes, especially the finale, and they did quite good too. If there's a season 2, I hope they would explore more about their characters and how they would defeat Korn as the main villain. It's only half of the year, but the quality of BLs has greatly improved compared before, and we all want that. If you have a different ranking, feel free to give your comments below. Thank you for watching. That's it, and see you on the next one.
Try to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.